mid-levels of the cell, we're seeing this little bit of an appendage. So that's where we're seeing this signature where there's a little bit of rotation. This is now north of Oxford, and there's the very latest image that we're looking at right now on the National Weather Service radar, is where we're seeing this possible tornado, especially where we're seeing this little notch right here. This is crossing the Vance-Granville County line. That's where this possible tornado is right now. And so far, I'm looking at the storm reports, no reports of any tornadoes right now, but because these things are so fast, a lot of times the reports move, we receive those after the tornado is already lifted up into the cloud and is already long gone. So if you live over towards Hicks Crossroads, over towards the Tungsten area, even over towards Bullock, in Bullock you're seeing some very heavy rain right now. But I think the threat of the tornado is probably, the greatest threat is probably just south of your area, right along the Granville-Vance County line. In this area right here, as we zoom in very tightly, see if we can't grab some roads right here and see what we come up with. Neighborhood level right on the Vance-Granville County line. So that's State Highway, US Highway 15. So let's get rid of that because that is not where that highway is located. It's located over here on the left-hand part of your screen. That's US Highway 15. So it's in this small area that we're looking at. Let me take off this warning here so you can get a better idea of what we're looking at. Back up. There's Hicks Crossroads, a very rural area, but some farmland. But if you live between Hicks Crossroads, Bullock, and Tungsten, that's where we're looking at this possible tornado we started seeing this signature down to the south here. In fact, let's back this up and give you an idea of when we started seeing this. Right in this area, this was the same storm that came through Durham. It was not showing the signature of rotation, but right in there, right around Bahama, that's where we started to see it. You see that little appendage right there? I'll go ahead and highlight that so can you see what I'm talking about? There's where we started seeing that little bit of a notch. And then as it moved farther forward, that's where the tornado warning was issued. In fact, we can pop that on here and show you where the National Weather Service was starting to see it. Right when it hit Bahama, that's where they issued the warning. There's the box. And then it moved up through the Stem area just to the west of Belltown and then through the Oxford area. And there's the latest tornado warning that's now on the east side. And now the threat is now in the far northern portions of Granville County. So if you live in Granville County, much of the county, it's only in the far northeastern corner that is under the threat, and the northern part of Vance County that's under this tornado warning now. It does not include Oxford anymore. It does not include Henderson. The threat is now heading up towards Carr Lake. If you know of anybody that's in the Carr Lake area, they might want to get to a place of safety immediately. Call them if you can, because that's where the storm is. It's already raining heavily over portions of the lake right now, but it's in this region right now that we're looking at the possible tornado, a weak tornado. And a lot of times with this type of situation, you'll get a spin up, you'll get a touchdown, it'll weaken, and then another one may touch down. But so far, no confirmation of that, as we're looking at just some heavy rain in portions of this area. And it will continue to move up to the northeast at around 40 to 45 miles an hour. And that is not unusual with these types of situations with tornadoes in a tropical environment. The winds are very strong aloft, and the steering currents are strong, so these storms move at a pretty good clip. That's why these types of tornadoes can be dangerous. They're weak tornadoes, but they move so quickly. And because they move so quickly, a lot of times you don't have time to get to a place of safety. A lot of folks want to look outside. They want to see what's happening. They want to see the tornado. But sometimes that can be dangerous because the tornado may be rain-wrapped, or it may be on you very quickly, and all of a sudden you're in a dangerous spot. And you certainly don't want to get yourself into that type of situation. Don't allow that to happen. All right, now it looks like the threat is now pushing. It's now east of Stovall. Bullock, you're still getting some heavy rain, but now it looks like the threat is now starting to focus in on Townsville. So that's northern Vance County. The cell in question is crossing the Granville County, Vance County line right now. That's indicated by this line that you're seeing right through the cell with some very heavy rain right in this area. This cell's not looking as impressive, at least on radar that I was looking. Let's go to Weather Source 3 here, because that's where I've got it zoomed in. There we go. And there's that line that I drew right on the county line. And you can see First Alert Doppler XP with the very latest sweep. So it now looks like it's the storm track will possibly is now starting to focus in on the Townsville area, as you can see right there. Just want to put on to see if we could see any shear markers, and we're not seeing that. And that's not unusual in this type of environment where you're looking at these weak signatures. But again, as we pan out here, there's the lake right there, Carr Lake. So this is quickly moving into right along the Virginia border as well. Other cell to the south, that's not showing rotation, but some very heavy rain with these cells. No thunderstorm warnings with that. It's kind of interesting. We've only had tornado warnings, but sometimes these cells can drop some downburst of wind that can cause some damage as well. But so far, we've not heard any problems with that. There's the how we're lapsing the radar right there, putting it into different modes. The tail end right around Rollsville and right on the west side of Lewisburg is where we're seeing some of that rain there. Let's wait for that latest image right there on First Alert Doppler XP. A little bit of an enhancement right there, which we're going to have to keep an eye on, where you're seeing a little bit of a notch there. Let me go ahead and put down some velocities. There's the latest coming up from the south. Nothing alarming right now, but something we'll have to keep an eye on. There may be a tornado warning later on down that we may have to watch for. But the latest image right there, there's First Alert Doppler XP. Looking at some other cells that are now forming down towards Sampson County with some thunder and lightning, no warnings with those, and also a cell with some very heavy rain in western Chatham County, now pushing just through Siler City. As you can see, we put this into motion. And there's the latest report that we're now getting. This was down towards Pinehurst, where we had that confirmation of a tornado, where John was on the phone with that gentleman who reported some damage with some pine trees blown down around the golf course. And some of those trees were blown into the lake. Here's another report of a downed tree on a power line. This is North Sailor Street. As you can see right there, as that storm moved through. This was earlier on. Steve Stewart doing an excellent job of showing you where that cell was. Now we're focusing in on this cell up to the north, where we still have a tornado warning until 11 o'clock. That's another 35 minutes. We'll have to see if they extend that warning up into Mecklenburg County. But if you live in Mecklenburg County and you're watching us, I know it's raining heavily around Clarksville, but you're not in any threat for a tornado. It's this area right now that we're looking at, as I'll draw, is this cell right here around the Townsville area. And as we put this into motion, you can see how it's moving up from the south. It moved up through Granville County, now moving into Vance County. And so if you just draw a line up to the north and look at the motion, you can see it will eventually cross the Virginia border through Carr Lake. So if you live over towards the Boydton area, South Hill, Bracey, even though there's not a tornado warning in your area, those cells are moving up into your region. So you want to watch that very closely if you're watching us. Okay, tornado warning is now, let's see, for northern Granville County is expired. Okay, so Granville County, you're pretty much in the clear. It's now in Vance County. And okay, we just got a report of a tree down on a power line. This is in Wake County, 2 miles east of Raleigh. So like I was saying before, even though these cells, some of them are not showing tornadic winds or the possibility of a tornado, they have the possibility of producing some strong winds. In fact, there's the wind report that we have that just came out right on Capitol Boulevard, as it looks right there. There it is. There's that down tree. In fact, let me go ahead and zoom in on that so you can see exactly where we're talking about. So this is right where Capitol Boulevard, 401, and the Outer Belt Line, 540. I'm sorry, 440, right in this area. Let's see if we can zoom out a little bit more. There it was right there, right at Capitol Boulevard and 440. We zoom out a little bit more here. Let's go ahead and take that off right there. Whoops. Let's go ahead and zoom back down into this cell right now that we're looking at right now. And take this storm report off so you can see. This is where the tornado warning is right now. Putting it into motion. Again, it looks like if you live over towards the Townsville area, that's the area where we're seeing the possible rotation. Putting on the National Weather Service Doppler radar. There's the signature right there that we're looking at, where we're seeing the bright reds and the whites coming together. That's where the possible tornado is right now.
Let's go to Scott Dean now. He's got some new information.
Okay, we have a new tornado warning that's now been issued for northwestern Franklin County, southeastern Vance County, and Warren County until 11:30. So these cells what I was afraid of are now starting to show rotation in multiple levels. The one cell that is up in Vance County, that's moving to the north, but now we're looking at this new cell that we were just showing you just a little bit ago. And the National Weather Service has now issued a tornado warning for that. It does include Lewisburg, but as we can see on the very latest image on First Alert Doppler XP, it's this part of the cell that we're watching right now just north of the city. As we put on the velocities, let's see if we can't pinpoint where this possible tornado is located. And there it is right there, showing up very well in this live data coming in on First Alert Doppler XP. There's where we're seeing those whites and the greens coming together. And this is let's go ahead and lay down this road here. First of all, let me tell you some of the areas that are located in this warning. At 10:22, National Weather Service radar indicated a tornado over Franklinton, or 5 miles northwest of Lewisburg, moving north at around 35 miles an hour. Gilberg, Afton, Middleburg, the Warrenton area, Norlina, and Wise are all in the path of this possible tornado. No confirmation, but a radar indicated tornado located right here, as we're seeing on First Alert Doppler XP, laying down some streets. Right now, it looks like it's crossing this highway right now. This is Highway 401. This is highway right here just to the north of State Highway 39. So 41 and 39, that's where we're seeing this possible tornado with this storm right now. And it looks like we're in an environment where we're going to be dealing with any cell that pops up this morning into the afternoon, has a possibility of spinning up a weak tornado. And there it is right there, just to the west of US Highway 401. Backing out a little bit more to give you an idea of where we are right now. There's Lewisburg. There's the latest imagery coming in right now as you're looking at, and also the intensity. This is what we're used to seeing. And there's that little bit of an appendage, a little bit of a notch on the east side of the cell. That's what we're seeing on these signatures. Very typical of this type of situation where you have a tropical air mass. Usually the signatures aren't the ones that really stand out like we saw on April 16th, and these cells aren't wrapping around with big hooks, but all you need is a little bit of an appendage right here, and a little bit of a weak signature, and that could spawn up one of these weak tornadoes. And the reason why is the winds in the atmosphere, the shear is there where the rotation can occur very close to the ground because the cloud bases are so close to the ground in a tropical type of atmosphere. So that's why we're seeing, even though it's a weak signature, you can get these spin-ups that happen very quickly. So again, we have this tornado warning for northwestern Franklin County, southeastern Vance County, and Warren County. This is the latest image that we're looking at on First Alert Doppler XP, and this warning is until 11:30, so just under an hour. So we're going to be here for the duration of this, as long as there is a threat for these quick spin-up of tornadoes. Let me go ahead and back out here and show you the entire area of what we're looking at. And the cells to the south are popping up, but it's really these that we're really concentrating on that have shown the latest rotation with some of these cells. So it's in this region right here that we're looking at. And so you can see the motion. Let's see if we can put on the National Weather Service radar and put that into motion. You can see we lost an image there for a second, but there's the latest. And as we put this into motion, you can see how it's moving to the north of Lewisburg. So even though you are technically in the warning, Lewisburg, I think the threat for the tornado was passed by to your north. It's this cell right now. And it looks like the cell up towards Vance County is starting to merge with another one. And so that one off to the east may be robbing the energy from that cell that was showing some tornadic signatures earlier on around Townsville. But hopefully that will continue, and we'll see that continue to weaken. Let's put on the velocity. And right around Townsville, if you can hear me from around Townsville, get to a place of safety, because that is where the possible tornado, that's where we're seeing that indication of some rotation in the northern part of the county, just on the south side of the border here with North Carolina and Virginia and up towards Carr Lake. But no tornado warning for Mecklenburg County. We'll have to see if that continues. But now we're also starting to focus on this one cell to the south here, where we're seeing the velocities, where you're seeing this red is crossing Highway 401 and 39 as we speak right now, where we're seeing this this couplet. Again, let me explain what we're showing here. The radar site is south, and it's showing velocities moving away from the radar site, and these whites indicating some weak movement towards. And so that's where we're seeing this rotation right here north of Lewisburg. So if you live over towards Alert, you need to be aware, no pun intended, of a tornado, a possible tornado moving in your area. And as we put on the reflectivity once again, this is the motion. You can see how it has moved to the north of Lewisburg. Let me check the printer here because we've got another statement that may have come out. Okay, we have a report of a funnel cloud that's been sighted. This is in Vance County, 3 miles northeast of Henderson. So at least we have a confirmation what a funnel cloud is has not touched the ground, but enough of a signature and rotation where we were seeing at least the possibility that some of these signatures could be spawning a quick spin up. And there's where it's located right now. There's that latest report right there. There's where the funnel cloud was reported, just to the north of Henderson, unconfirmed report. I don't know if that was from law enforcement or if that was from a 911 call center. So that's north of the Henderson area where we saw that possible funnel cloud that was reported. Backing out a little bit more here, this is where we're now focusing on. Over towards Townsville, that's the one tornado warning that we have, and the second one is with this more impressive looking cell that is now over towards the Epsom area. Let's go over to weather source 2 here, because what I can do on this weather source is I can actually lay down some landmarks here. We'll zoom in right now. So you can see some of the towns north of Lewisburg, between Henderson and over towards Alert. And as I zoom in very tightly on this and lay down some of the, here we go, let's go ahead and lay that down. Let's go ahead and show that. And there's Ingleside, Laurel Mill Elementary School, Lick Skillet, and the Epsom area. So that's where we're looking at. Those are the general region that we're looking at north of Lewisburg. And this is getting ready to cross the border into Warren County. Looking at the velocity data here from the National Weather Service, there it is right there. This is a pretty good signature, folks, right now, right around this area, crossing Highway 401. So let's see if we can lay down some more. There's Britt Haven of Lewisburg. There's the Moulton area, and over towards there's the latest image coming up there. Now that's interesting. We're not seeing quite the signature that we saw before, and that's not unusual. You get these quick spin-ups and then they start to weaken rapidly. So there we saw it pushing to the north of Lewisburg right there. We started to see it right there, just north of Lewisburg, crossing the highway right there. And now the latest image that we're looking at is not quite as impressive. As you can see, it's become more diffused. That's good news. Maybe it means that the circulation is weakening. But sometimes what happens is they can start to spin up a new circulation. So it's crossing over 401 right now. And let's go ahead and see if we can lay down some other highways that are in the path of this possible tornado. So this is the area we're watching right now. 401, just north of Moulton in the Ingleside area. Over towards Kearney, over towards Alert. There's Highway 39. And that's 401. So this is the area we're looking at right now. This is the county line with Warren and Franklin County. That's the county line right there. So it's getting ready to move up. It's moving up 401, moving to the northeast at around 40 miles an hour, and will continue to push up towards the county. So if you live in the southern portion, the southwestern portions of Warren County, that's where this signature is still showing up here, where you're seeing the whites. And as we lapse this, you can see how that cell the signature started to show up. This goes back a little bit, but we'll start to see it in just a second around the Franklinton area where we started to see that signature. And there it is, especially just north of Lewisburg, where we saw a pretty good signature right there. Hopefully that doesn't mean that, that there was a touchdown right in that area, but sometimes when the velocities really start to light up there, that's when you can get that spin or rotation that forms. As we take a look at the bigger view here, and there's a reflectivity that we're going to put on right now and show the entire viewing area. If you're watching down towards the triangle over towards the south, there's nothing going on right now, but we're looking at new cells that are now starting to pop up that we're going to have to watch very closely. Some very heavy rain around Siler City that we're looking at right now. looking at, we're going to have to watch this closely, folks, because once again, we're seeing some of these greens showing up. And if we start to see one of these signatures or couplets, that's when we could have a quick spin up. So while there's not an immediate threat for a tornado in the Siler City area, that's certainly a cell that we're going to be watching very, very cautiously as we look at the latest image there. That's put it into motion. These are also moving up to the north very rapidly, around 40 miles an hour. There's the latest imagery that we're looking at as we look at First Alert Doppler XP with the very latest image right there. So now it's pushing through Siler City, and also we're watching this cell to the north. If you're just joining us, tornado warning out for Vance County, Warren County, and Franklin County until 11:30, and also over towards this one cell over towards Townsville. It looks like that is weakening, so we're now really starting to focus in on this one cell right here. This is the one that we need to watch very closely, right around Ingleside over towards the alert area. Let's go to weather source 3, because what I want to do here is I want to put the velocity on our First Alert Doppler XP, the live velocity data coming in. And it looks like now this signature that I'm seeing is right in this area, the cross between 39 and 401. As we lay down the streets here, this is 39 heading up into the Epson area, and this is 401 right here. So that's where we have the possible tornado between Epson and the alert. There's the latest imagery, and there's the signature that we're still seeing. It's riding right along Highway 401, heading up to the north and east. So that's the motion that we're seeing with this cell. Back out a little bit more so you can see where we're talking about, give you an idea. So up towards Warren County, this is the cell that we're looking at. It's showing up very well on First Alert Doppler XP. And the advantage to this is because these storms are moving so quickly, you don't want to wait for an image to come in every 6 minutes. This is live data. Look at this sweep line right now. There you go. Right there over 401. That's where we're honing in on. That's where that possible tornado is, just south of the county line with Warren County and Franklin County. So State Highway 39 over towards 401. If you live between Epson and the alert area, you want to get to a place of safety. Get to an interior portion of your house. Get away from windows. If you have a basement, that's great. If you're hearing me from a mobile home, I know this may sound crazy, but mobile homes are not a good place to be in. Leave that mobile home, get to a sturdier shelter, or get into a ditch or a low-lying area, because mobile homes can turn over very easily, even in the weakest tornadoes, with these winds generally around 70 to 100 miles an hour with some of these weaker tornadoes. But they can cause damage, and they can cause, you just simply don't want to be in a mobile home that's rolling around. You're like in a giant dryer, and that's where a lot of people are injured in mobile homes. There's the latest image that we're seeing right there. Let's put on the intensity that we're used to seeing. And again, we're seeing a little bit of a notch right here, right along 401, just west of alert. That's the area of concern that we have right now for this area of possible weak rotation. Now, earlier on, as John was mentioning, we had a report of a tornado on the ground around Pinehurst. Now, John, I want to toss it to you. When you were talking to that gentleman, did he actually see that tornado at all?
He did not see the tornado, but he certainly saw the debris and damage that occurred afterwards. He said there was about 20 trees that fell. We're talking about the Country Club of North Carolina in Pinehurst. No employees that he said were there at the time, but and no injuries reported, but he did see a lot of debris. Also, we talked with the fire chief in Southern Pines, who said Southern Pines seemed to make it out okay, but in talking with emergency officials in other parts of Moore County, not so good. Now, there is a situation of power outages in downtown Southern Pines due to a tree that's fallen on a power line, but other than that, Moore County seems to be a place where a confirmed tornado touched down, or maybe about 6:30 this morning, 6:45.
All right, thanks a lot, John. And we also have Chief Meteorologist Chris Homan. He's in the office now. We are going to be watching this situation. This could be a busy afternoon for us as we're in this environment that's ripe for these thunderstorms to start to rotate and spin up these fast-moving weak tornadoes. We still have that tornado warning that's in effect for, as you can see right there where the hash mark is, where the box is, for portions of Vance County. That was that one cell that moved to the north, but we're really now focusing in on this line that's now moving through north of Lewisburg. It still extends farther to the south in Lewisburg, but as we put on this velocity data and put on XP here, this is where we're seeing the possible rotation, right in this area. So we're looking at it from there, and we're also looking at it from the National Weather Service radar, and you can see how it moves up to the north. So both our systems are picking up on this possible rotation or tornado right around the alert area. I have some more data coming in right now. Let's see what this is off the printer, see if we have an update on what's going on here. Let's see, these are advisories for Katia, which, by the way, is a powerful storm, but it looks like that is going to stay off the coast. That is certainly good news. We don't need that. That's the last thing we need. We're dealing with tornadoes right now, or possible ones. We don't need a hurricane coming in. So let's take one thing at a time here. There's where we're talking about. It looks like the area, the signature is now crossed over. 401 is now moving through a pretty rural area. Let's go over to Weather Source 2 here, because what I can do with this system is I can zoom in and I can actually lay down some landmarks right now. And that's where we're talking about right now, right just north of Alert, where you're seeing right there, and over towards just right around the county line. So there's not a whole lot being shown up right now. It's right along the county line that we're looking at. And what we're seeing here is, let me draw this once again. We're focusing in right here on this notch where we're seeing this little appendage where you're seeing an indication where the thunderstorm is wrapping around and you have the warm, moist air coming in at the surface. The winds at the surface are coming from the south and east, but up in the mid-levels of the atmosphere, they're coming in from the south and west. And with that changing of direction with height, that's called wind shear. It's called directional wind shear. It is a key ingredient that you need for the formation of tornadoes. And a lot of times that ingredient is present with landfalling tropical systems. The problem is we've had some sunshine today, and the more sun we see, the more this situation is going to continue, because that adds instability to the atmosphere and causes these storms to continue to develop. And when they take advantage of that shear, that's when you can get these quick-moving spin-ups. So we're looking at, again, this is the latest imagery that we're looking at from the National Weather Service, and it's just around the alert area that we're focusing in on. It's now crossing the border of Franklin County and Warren County. As we zoom out a little bit farther here, you'll be able to see that we're seeing this move up towards the Warren County area. So if you live up towards the Elberson area, over towards Norlina, you're in this tornado warning. And as you can see, where I've drawn this area of these arrows, that's where we're seeing that possible rotation with this storm. And as we put down the National Weather Service radar and put this into motion, back it out a little bit here, that's where you're seeing right in there. We started to see the signature right there around Lewisburg and to the south, to the west of Lewisburg, and it's headed to the north. We had that warning, and now there's the latest image. It's now crossing the border right now with Warren County and Franklin County. So alert. Oddly enough, no pun intended, you need to be on alert, because that's where the greatest danger is right now. We're going to go to...
Yeah, hey, Scott. That's good. They're putting us up on camera here.
Okay,
yeah, but,
gotcha.
yeah, so good job keeping everybody covered. Been an active morning, obviously, and have some other thunderstorms that you've been watching, too, as well. I have the 2 warnings near the border county. If you go over to First Alert Doppler XP,